10 o'clock, and here we go. With Fox 10 Talks, we have the music legend himself, Chubby Checker, going to be joining us live. I got to basically hang out with him for the last hour. He's been in our newsroom. Such a nice guy. I mean, I asked him early on, I said, hey, Chubby, we all want to know, what are you, 60, 65, 70? He's 84. And I asked him, what are you doing to stay in such great shape? I'll give you the answer. In fact, we'll ask him because he's going to be joining us live in studio in about the next 90 seconds. You know, if you go all the way back to when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, that was a big deal. But before that ever happened, Chubby Checker was the first music phenomenon. That was in 1960. And he created a craze in this country, all with his appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. And we are going to be talking about that this morning. Also this morning, let's check this out. Coming up on Fox 10 Talks, Mark Kelly with some real questions about why we are even at war in the first place. He was on with us a little bit earlier this morning. And then we have Congressman David Schweikert is responding to Governor Hobbs' appearance. This is going to get really interesting. As you know, we had the governor on just a couple of days ago. We had plenty of questions to ask her, and now we're going to get into it with the man who wants her job on the Republican side, Congressman David Schweikert. Also, did you hear about this trouble at the Masters? There is a name that is a golfing legend who literally got kicked out of Augusta National. This is a man who has won the Masters in the past. So what do you do to actually get yourself in that situation? We're going to find out. But ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited to welcome Chubby Checker to the big microphone this morning. Chubby, how you doing?
Just wonderful.
You are wonderful.
I mean, everything's just fine.
Good. Are you liking your time here at Fox 10?
Love it. I'm here among the foxes.
You're doing all the foxes.
Can't do bad
as you said.
If that's happening.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I just told everybody we were going to bring you on, and when I first met you, we're hanging out in the newsroom, and I said, what's your secret? 84. And I mean, you are staying young, my friend.
Yeah, just keep fighting and don't give up. Just don't give up. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
Don't get distracted.
Yes.
If people get on your nerves, don't let it happen.
How many times a year do you still perform?
All the time.
You're out on the road constantly.
I've been performing since I left high school. In fact, in the 12th grade, the twist was being played.
All right.
And I graduated, and the song was just getting on the charts.
Yes.
And
after you're out of high school.
Yeah, I've been playing all that time.
Okay.
I mean, nothing changes. We just continue just to play all the time, and they say, well, I say I used to work, but then I play, and then nothing happens for a while, and then I have a vacation, and I start working and playing again.
It's so great. Now, what's your hometown in South Carolina where you grew up?
It's called Spring Gully, South Carolina.
Spring Gully.
I was born in Williamsburg County.
Okay.
And basically, everything happens in Andrews, South Carolina, and I go there often. I visit my relatives and my friends.
Yeah, well,
I do.
My son and his wife and our grandkids lived in a town called Lexington, South Carolina. I'm sure you've heard of it. Very nice.
Sure have.
We love the Carolinas.
But South Carolina is a very nice place. For people are very laid back. You know, I've been living around Philadelphia for many years, but it's just that if you're in show business, wherever you live, it doesn't matter.
There's a scene in the movie, it came out, Syleste joins us well, that came out, maybe 20 years ago, called That Thing You Do. And it's about a made-up band. But Liv Tyler is like the girlfriend of the main singer. Yeah. And she hears their song on the radio for the first time and goes crazy. She's running down Main Street screaming. Tell me about the first time you heard your song on the radio, The Twist.
I turned it off.
No.
Oh, really?
Really?
I don't like it. I love when they play my music. I hate it when they don't play it. But when they play it, I just turn it down.
Really?
When it's over, I turn it again. Yeah, because it's just amazing to hear
Yeah.
And if I'm on TV,
Right.
now if I see this show, I want to look at it.
Okay. Well, it's good.
Now, the reason why I do that is because you don't know why people like you.
Yeah.
And you might see something that you don't like, and you change it, and that's what they're watching you for. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
When was that when you were younger and you thought, I want to go into show business?
I was 4 years old. I was in Georgetown, South Carolina with my mom.
Okay.
And she took me to the fair, and I saw Ernest Tubb playing his guitar.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
I never want to do anything else.
Okay, everybody talks about the Beatles' appearance on Ed Sullivan. It created a sensation. You were the first. You were the first music act that created a national sensation. So you get off the show, and within a few days, everyone in America wants to dance your dance, the twist. What was that like?
Well, little did they know that the twist gave us the dance floor. The dance floor is as old as my career.
Okay.
In other words, the style of dance that we do is when the girl looks at the guy looks at the girl, and you really are doing your own thing while watching them.
Yeah.
Well, that was what the twist was all about.
Wow.
Then came the pony. Then came the fly, then came the shake, and that old dance, nasty dance from 1949 called the Hucklebuck. And
Nasty.
yeah, it was nasty dance. And what they did, Ron, they slowed down the beat. And the boogie was born.
Yeah.
So Chubby is still here. The dances that we've done, that we put together, is still being done by every artist.
Yeah.
For 65 or 6 years.
I know Syleste has one more question she wants to squeeze in, but before we let you go, tell people where they can see you here coming up.
You can see me at the Wecopa Casino on Saturday. We're going to be there with the Wildcats. It's the first time I've been there. Haven't been to Phoenix for a long time. We're very excited about it. Want everyone to come see us. And I want to thank Fox for letting everyone know that we're going to be at the Wecopa on Saturday. And I'm really excited. And thank you, and thank you for so much. And Ron, you're something else. I kept telling Ron, I said, Ron, I saw you on TV.
I'm like, Chubby Checker knows me?
Yeah, I know. Hey, Ron, I saw you on TV. Yeah, I did.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and hanging with us.
Thank you, guys.
Morning.
It's just the best. Thank you so much. And and I love you.
You're the pride of, what was it, Spring Gully?
Spring Gully, South Carolina.
It's so great.
Yeah, and Andrews, South Carolina.
Arizona loves you. Come back anytime.
The kid from Williamsburg County. By the way, I was just in South Carolina last Sunday.
Okay.
And do you know that at Steadfast Road and Highway 521, they have a memorial of me.
Oh, wow.
I'm supposed to be dead.
You're like, what is this
I have a picture. I have a picture of Chubby Checker in front of my memorial taking a picture.
Great.
I says, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You are just amazing, and you've hung out and taken photos with long lines of people here at Fox. So thank you, Chubby. Thank you so much for coming.
Remember, it's all about you. I'm just a good excuse for the party.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, amongst our list of guests today, we had Senator Mark Kelly on today. He had some pointed remarks. Check this out.
Strait of Hormuz is now closed, jacking up energy prices for all of us. You know, the president put a deadline, which was a couple days ago, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and he was going to end the Iranian civilization. Unprecedented in American history for a president to speak that way, with those kind of threats of murdering innocent civilians, men, women, children even. So he found himself in a spot. So then very hastily, as this administration does, he gets into a deal that doesn't have all the details worked out, including what Israel is doing currently in Lebanon. So that's why we find ourselves here with the Strait of Hormuz open for a little bit, then closed again. Now the Iranians think they're getting the most lucrative toll booth in the world, the Strait of Hormuz, at $2 million a passage.
And so as we play for you some of the highlights there from Mark Kelly's appearance a little bit earlier. You can maybe hear a little bit of background noise here in our studio. What is happening?
Chubby Checker just looked at you, David.
I was getting hugs.
You're in the hot seat. You're in trouble.
Yes, but that was after the Chubby Checker hug.
Yeah.
Which actually
made your day.
Yeah, I hope someone got it on camera. That was, how can someone be so nice?
I know. To be a legend like he is.
And then just be, I mean, seriously, he has no idea who I am, and then to be that kind.
I know. Just taking pictures and giving hugs.
We all danced with him in our other studio, the big studio. I came out to the newsroom, and Shayla, one of our producers, said, you were nailing that dance with Chubby. And I said, I went back, because it's out there. You can find it on YouTube. His original appearance, October the 6th, 1960. It was the first true music craze in America. Everybody wanted to do the twist after he was on Sullivan.
And did you just dance it?
Yeah!
This is
got it done!
Now that video will be worth a fortune. Matter of fact, I can see the Fox 10 promo now of you. Take care, Chubby. I can actually see the Fox 10 promo now of you twisting.
Okay. Well,
so
anyhow.
great.
Yeah.
So amazing. What a morning it has been already.
This reminds me here, we were just talking about what our exercise regimens are. And I got a workout. I don't know about you, Celeste, but doing the twist.
It really was a workout.
Tell us about that gym in Congress. Now, I know you're leaving Congress for, you hope for a better job, but tell us about it.
Oh, no, much better job. Look, I find my number one gym is chasing my kids because I'm this age, and I have a 3-year-old and 10-year-old we've adopted.
Yeah.
But there's actually a decent little gym, but it's in the basement. And it always smells like, actually, like a leaky pipe.
Like
is the best way.
Like a basement.
But, yeah, like a basement. But look, when you're, how do I say this nicely? Apparently, there's a rule you're not allowed to strangle fellow members of Congress.
Oh,
what?
So yeah, I know. Apparently, I asked the Sergeant
When
Martin.
was that passed?
And so when you have that frustration of why won't these people actually do basic math, I go in and lift weights and. It helps burn off a little bit of the frustration.
Well, that's some great insight. We are going to take a break. Here's our chance to really talk with the congressman. You know he is going to respond to what Governor Hobbs had to say. It's all coming up. Ron Hoon, Syleste Rodriguez, and Congressman David Schweikert joining us today. As you know, he is running for governor on the Republican side. We just had the governor in a couple of days ago. It's so interesting because no matter who you bring in, all of a sudden then you get the comments on social. When are you going to bring in so-and-so?
When are you going to bring in this person?
It didn't take long to get Congressman Schweikert here with us. So let's jump into some of these questions.
Let's have some fun.
And so Susan says, look, these gas prices have jumped because of the Iran war. How long should we expect to keep paying these higher costs? Do you think the trade-off is worth it? I guess we'll just put the question right there. Is the trade-off worth it?
It's actually a brilliant question. Watching, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to geek out, but it is important. Future prices have really started to crash since the announcement yesterday of at least a détente for a couple of weeks here. So I'm hoping we're going to start to see some rounding of these prices. If it means Iran doesn't get a thermal nuclear weapon, because at that point everyone in the region would get a demand one, it's misery, but I don't want this to last more than another week or two. When you drive a F-150, it's expensive out there. Mm-hmm. But we also had other gas issues. They're shutting down the refineries in California. Yeah. So I'm trying to get President Trump to use the Defense Production Act to at least stop or for a while stall the shutting down of those refineries. A couple of years ago, we were part of the team that was helping negotiate and have discussions of bringing another pipeline in from El Paso. And that's coming because we get our fuel from the West Coast and from Texas. And as they shut down the refineries, we actually had an economic report that said gas in Arizona could go up $2 a gallon because of the shutdown of the refineries.
Celeste has got like 8 questions for you. Let me squeeze one
I'll go
more in
faster.
real quick,
I'll go faster.
Because I asked this to Governor Hobbs, too. What would it take to get an actual refinery in Arizona so we are no longer dependent on California's refineries?
We've been working on that for almost 40 years. About 30 years ago, we actually came somewhat close to doing a refinery in Yuma. I'm actually now more hopeful than I've been in the past because there's some new design engineering where they use a much higher pressure, lower temperature, so you don't need as much water. Refineries require a lot of water, and that being a stressed asset for us. If there really is about to be a new technology, maybe we finally have some hope to be able to finance. But a new refinery, really hard to permit, even under the Trump administration, and they're really, really expensive. But we're at 7.7 million people in our state now.
Yeah.
We need the optionality.
Yeah. How long does something like that take?
There has not been a ground-up refinery built in decades and decades and decades. Mm-hmm. Most of the refinery capacity that is expanded in Louisiana and Texas are additions on existing refineries. But it's more than building the refinery. You have to have, where does the crude come from? Mm-hmm. So let's say you build a refinery in Yuma. Where do they get the raw product? Are you going to get it out of the California basin? Well, California is trying to shut down its wells. So there's more to it than just having a refinery. In some ways, the most economical thing you can do is get pipeline capacity in from Texas. It turns out, from a price standpoint, that may be the most efficient.
And is that faster in terms of building?
It's much faster. And you don't have to rely on your crude source because right now you'd have to build a pipeline from Texas for the crude or from the California desert. Mm-hmm. And knowing the schizophrenic politics of California, heaven forbid you get cut off. Then how do you bring in raw crude?
Right.
All right, so let's get into, I'm sure you were anticipating we were going to ask about this because...
you, I never anticipate anything.
Well, we opened it up and the question came up several times. I'm sure you're going to have to answer it here a few times in your run for governor, but what do you have to say? People had mentioned about the ethic violation and investigation and the fines that I think went into 6 figures.
Well, look, I had to pay $50,000 and I paid it personally. Mm-hmm. Look, a dozen years ago, I had a staffer, and I should have watched. It's when you learn it sometimes when there's money in play, and you have someone that can tell we have a great story, and we found a problem. And then the problem became bigger. And then we found out that this other account had been touched, and then the campaign account. Now it's almost 14 years ago. But we did something different than most politicians. We said, okay, we screwed up. I paid a fine for failure to supervise, and we fixed it. I'm embarrassed by it, but I fixed it, and I didn't also deny it. We stood up and rebuilt our model. So now no money goes out the door without three people touching it.
That is difficult when you think about it, right? I mean, you have to keep an eye on everything. I mean, the buck stops with you.
And look, the life is crazier than you can imagine, because here's your campaign, here's your official office, here's your personal life. And would you believe you're running 1,000 different directions at once? But we found a model. Look, I paid far too much money for it, but we found a compliance firm that now doesn't let anything happen. And I still have some trust problems I'm working on, but once burnt, twice shy.
Yeah, it's true.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the things you hope to accomplish. But before we do any of that, we want to go directly to the governor's appearance right here in this studio just a couple of days ago. Because there had been some, I guess you could say, back and forth already, because Andy Biggs has also been here. Here's some of what got said, and then we'd like your response.
All right. Well, I'm hopeful that she'll debate me. She knows me personally. I know her personally, and she also knows that my attacks are on policy and not going to be on her personally. So I'm hoping that we can get together and actually have a debate, and I think that would be good.
Are you able to commit to it now?
Look, I'm going to continue focusing on talking to Arizonans where they're at in their communities across the state. And when it comes time for the debate, I'm going to focus on what's the best way to reach Arizonans. If that's the right answer, then yes.
It was interesting, I think, when we look back to that election that you had, the first, against Kari Lake, and you chose not to debate. I think a lot of people thought, will it work? And it worked. You didn't debate. What was the reason behind not debating?
Well, I think, Kari Lake focused a lot on election denial and feeding these conspiracy theories that resulted in me and my family getting death threats and having armed protesters outside our home. These are theories that Andy Biggs also subscribes to. And, I think it's dangerous to give those kinds of things a platform.
Okay, plenty to respond to there. What do you say about some of that?
I desperately hope the governor does debate. And I can make a commitment that it won't be personal. You have real structural problems happening in Arizona. Wage growth, we're like number 4 from the bottom. Actually, a whole bunch of categories of workers last year, actually their wages went down. Technically, after the Biden years of inflation, working people in Arizona are actually poorer today than they were 4 or 5 years ago. You can debate on those sorts of things instead of the fear of, I can't believe you wore that tie. Some of the silliness you see in some of the debates. And look, as you heard the governor, she didn't actually make a commitment to debate. She said, we'll sort of look at it. I sure hope she does. But actually, I would make the challenge to the governor. I would love to do sort of a town hall fashion. Let's go around the state. I'll actually provide you can ride with me in the car.
In the F-150?
Yeah.
In the F-150. And seriously, let's go up and down the state, almost like Goldwater and Kennedy were going to do.
Lincoln and Douglas.
Yeah, and just tell our story, saying, I believe I can bring a revolution to state government. We're using technology, getting rid of the waste and fraud. I have a very different vision than she does. It doesn't have to be mean. It's tell our stories, tell our visions. And I think that would be amazing for Arizona, is travel the state and go have those debates, have those discussions, and let the Arizona voters choose.
I think Arizona voters would like that. I think they want to see different leaders talk about the very same issues and do it in a way that's amicable, and to talk specifically about policy and how we can make our lives better. Let me ask you this question about wages. How do you raise wages? Is it working with businesses and corporations?
It's a combination of everything. So look, with the previous governor, in his 8 years, we went from being the bottom third of wages to being the bottom of the top third of wages. The secret to wage growth, because if you want to make your brothers and sisters, help them be less poor, if you want to make up for inflation, you have to have competition for people's talents, for their labor. That means you have to get off your hiney and go visit California and any place in the country or the world and say, come do business in Arizona. The other thing we've also accomplished in Arizona is we've started to diversify our economy. You and I have been here long enough that it used to be with real estate coughed, we got sick. Now we have a diversified economy. We're having a problem. Arizona manufacturing and those things, we're losing jobs right now. Think of the layoffs at Intel and other things that have been going on. We need the next generation of technology, of jobs, moving here and stop skipping over us, as they have been the last 2 years, and going to Tennessee, Florida, and Texas.
Well, you just mentioned 3 states that don't have a state income tax. But are you proposing that?
No, I would love to get rid of the state income tax, but it's functionally 30% of the appropriated budget. And because the federal government owns so much of our state land, it's in those states, they're able to spread that tax burden over real estate, property taxes. They have much higher property taxes. We don't get that optionality unless we would hold much more of the real estate where it was subject to the tax system. So what you have to do is, how do you have the lowest, flattest? In Arizona, we don't tax Social Security. We don't tax military retirement. We have a 2.5% flat tax.
Would you try to bring that down further? We have 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're constantly trying to whittle down the taxes, and there's certain things you do saying, could we get this tax down? Could we do certain things for seniors on property taxes? But in many ways, you're designing it so you maximize economic growth and wages. You asked about how do you fix wages? It's that growth. It's that competition for you to have. You get to choose the employer you want.
Yeah.
So many other issues to talk about. Can you stick around for a few more minutes after the break?
Okay, great, wonderful.
Let's do that.
Let's do it. Are we going to do the mystery camera right now? Or are we going to wait till later, Ron?
We're actually going to do it now, Celeste.
This is
if you can believe it. Look at there's Old Glory. And here's a hint. It's either an M or a W upside down.
We'll be right back.
This is great.
Okay, we're back, and this is Fox 10 Talks. Celeste, are we getting any guesses yet?
We have a couple of guesses. We have Wyoming from B. Miguel. Okay. We have Oklahoma from Paul Humphrey. Mm-hmm. Husky Mom is going with Wyoming as well. What do you think? Maybe they're going with the W.
Are the flags?
I know.
Are the flags a tell?
Yes,
I think they are a bit of a tell, but I also thought, well, if they're going with the W, that means it can't be Minnesota, Michigan, or Maryland.
That's true.
Anyway, all right. Let's see, Celeste, you want to give us your? So, what are you going with?
I don't know. Maybe like
Yeah.
I'm going to go with like a Texas.
I think Texas is a great guess. I'm trying to look at that flag.
I know.
I'll go, because you chose Texas, I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here is your answer, and it is Perry, Georgia.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
See,
how was anyone ever going to get that?
Right? Well, we needed those flags. Now they're flapping in the wind, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're continuing our conversation with Congressman David Schweikert here in studio on Fox 10 Talks. Let me just go through. We have so many questions here. So here's a question, for example. Rick Nichols says, do the SRP outcomes change how you view Andy Biggs standing with the voters? I guess this is a chance to maybe even branch off of that, which is, what about more renewable energy in our state? And you haven't really had a chance to address your competition, Congressman Biggs.
Well, actually, he's asking a brilliant question. Turning Point is substantially, I think, the one that recruited Mr. Biggs to get into the race. They're running his race. We think actually there's some questionable use of resources, but that's for the lawyers to work through. Think of this. Turning Point was given a big check, and last night the conservative fraction got wiped out in some of the races, 2-1 votes. And Turning Point could be an amazing tool and helpful to the conservative movement. But they keep recruiting fringe candidates. Look, other than a recall election, I know of no race Turning Point has actually won here in Arizona. And now they've become a lightning rod of almost rage. If you're going to constantly recruit candidates that their platform is how angry they are, instead of a movement of saying, we love people, we're going to help independents and Republicans and even Democrats have a better life in Arizona. And if you look, you and I have done this for a while. Where's the caring about people? And you see the types of races being run out there where it's more, I'm going to go for a dopamine hit than a goal of saying we're going to make Arizona better. And I think in some ways you just saw that in the SRP elections last night, where a rage of they're going to come and do these horrible things to you, they got wiped out.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this with Rick Nichols. He says your campaign said that some of your attacks against Biggs are a warm-up of what's to come. What else should Arizonans know about him?
Yeah, please listen. I won't do something personal, but I will document. And Biggs and I have known each other most of our lives. But you can't show up to functionally what's almost a white supremacist rally and be their speaker. You can't go on the podcast of someone who's anti-Semitic and white supremacist and then compliment them and then think no one is going to find out. If you go spend 5 minutes on Google, you will see a list of these things, and then we wonder why those of us on the conservative side lose election over. It's because sometimes Turning Point, they're recruiting fringe candidates that actually have done things. Maybe you can get away with that in a, 15, 16-point Republican district. But that's not Arizona. Arizona will not.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and Arizona will not tolerate those things. And you also have a state where we barely control the state legislature. Mm-hmm. Think about what would happen to us on the conservative side if this governor were to be reelected and we were to lose the state legislature, just like happened in Virginia a couple months ago. And that's what we're staring at, is take this seriously. This is more than Biggs versus David Schweikert. It is I would argue, the future and survival of the state.
Let me ask you a little bit about the Arizona economy and kind of looking forward. So we saw Doug Ducey. He did a lot of really great things, the former governor, for Arizona's economy, brought great businesses here. You mentioned tech earlier in our conversation. We do have the Taiwanese semiconductor here already. We do have different tech companies here. We have data centers moving here, although I don't know how many jobs we have that are coming. We have construction, of course, homes still building. Where do you see, let's say that you do win this primary, you move on to run in the election as governor, what type of companies or industry do you see as the future of Arizona?
You're actually asking a brilliant question. Look, I'm one of the people that flew to Taiwan to love on Taiwan Semiconductor to get them out here. Love having it. And data centers, I have certain skepticisms because they're great for the property tax base. Maybe we can encourage them if they'd be willing to use the lower water, lower power type of technology. How do we get them in spots that are desperate for property tax base, like what's happened to rural Arizona, where rural Arizona business has been decimated? When you recruit businesses, you're always recruiting the next generation, the synthetic biology, the new types of quantum chips, these things that create the next generation of wealth and vitality in an economy. You don't necessarily go out and hunt for legacy businesses that have already become commoditized. And I don't mean to geek out on that. There's this remarkable talent coming out of our universities, of some of the businesses here, yet when they're about to do their expansions or their next generation technology, they're not doing it in Arizona anymore. We can stop that. We can make this their home.
Congressman David Schweikert, we really appreciate your time coming in. We started with a Chubby Checker appearance.
And a Chubby Checker hug.
A hug. And then I knew Syleste was going to get into lots of policy with you. So thank you. And as the election season proceeds, maybe we'll see you again.
I sure hope so.
Thank you for coming in.
And look, you guys are two of the most decent people in the business. We love you.
Oh, we're going to have to clip that, Ron.
Yeah,
and keep
no kidding.
Yeah, replay it.
I'll play it for the boss. All right, so...
Thank you for coming in.
We are going to transition now to Country Thunder. Can you believe it's finally arrived? It is kickoff day for Country Thunder. And, you can see, if you haven't been out there before, if you love country music and you just are lucky enough to live in Arizona, it's truly one of the biggest, some would say the very best, of all the country music festivals in the USA. So let's find out a little more about it, Syleste. Do you want to?
Let's go for it.
Okay, here is our guest. As a matter of fact, it's Megan Benoit. Did I get that name right, Megan?
Yes, you did. Yes,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, great. What can you tell us? Everything's happening today. What should we know?
Yeah, like you said, today is officially day one. We opened campgrounds yesterday, had about half of our campers come in yesterday. We're expecting to see a ton more roll in today. The weather looks beautiful this weekend. We're very excited. The gates are going to open at 3:00. And then we've got 4 really great artists today. And then throughout the weekend, again, some huge names. We've got Lainey Wilson, Entertainer of the Year, Zach Top, Gavin Adcock, Brooks and Dunn, just to name a few of them.
I have a feeling a Neon Moon is going to be, one of the faves with Artemis.
There you go.
Yeah, from space. We're showing some aerial images of the lines, folks waiting to get in. And we know this is one of the most popular events in all the nation. You also have different, styles and ways of staying there. I noticed some of your glamping tents. Tell us more about those.
Yeah, tons of campers. The camping culture at this festival is something I've never seen anywhere else, but the glamping is probably how I would do it. It's a little bougier, really cool, kind of safari style tents. And then you get shower trailers, restroom trailers. We do a little breakfast with pastries and coffee every morning for those fans. And then they get a premium ticket admission to the show as well. So really fun option if you don't have an RV. We do have some hotel partners as well this year. And then we do see people who drive in every day.
All right, settle this argument. Biggest act for you, from what you're hearing, the buzz you're hearing, more for Lainey Wilson or more for Brooks and Dunn? Come on now.
I'm gonna say Brooks and Dunn. We've had a lot of people who want a little bit more of a throwback vibe to this festival, and so Brooks and Dunn as a headliner is the perfect fit. We've also got Lone Star, who I'm personally a big fan of. We've got Billy Dean, Colin Ray, some big names that will be a little bit of a throwback for some of our fans.
Wow.
That's so great.
I know. I'm with her, I think. Yeah, Brooks and Dunn. It's going to be an amazing show. How many people do you have usually out there at this great event?
Usually we see about 20 to 25,000 people a day. As I mentioned, we have people that come in each day. We've got single day tickets available. So if someone is just a really big Brooks and Dunn fan, we may see more people on Sunday. It always fluctuates depending on the day, but typically in that range.
Do you guys, sorry, Celeste, go ahead. Do you start working on are you already working on next year's list, or how does it all come together? Because this is one heck of a lineup.
We do. We have a really great team that, our talent buyer, I swear, is a bit of a fortune teller because he can predict who is going to be the next big thing. And I think Gavin Adcock and Zach Topper examples, we booked them about a year ago and we knew that there was something special about them. And now here they are. So to have as much notice as we can is very important to us, just so that we can work around their touring schedules, make sure that we get that top talent each and every year. So conversations have started.
One of the questions that we have in the chat this morning is, and I think, we're in Arizona. It is April. It can tend to get a little warm. Do you also have any tents with like paramedics or people out there offering relief and things like that?
Of course, yes. We have a ton of emergency responders on site, which includes medical, police, anything to make sure that everyone does have a safe and healthy weekend. We also offer some areas that have air conditioning that are shaded. We encourage everyone to bring in a sealed bottle of water to beat the heat. Luckily, people in Arizona, they know how to battle that weather. And so it's something that we're aware of every year, and the fans respond accordingly, and they're very responsible with it too.
We are known as the friendliest show on TV.
Yes, we are.
So let me just ask you, I hear a Canadian accent. Are you more from like Kelowna or Winnipeg or Toronto or what?
I'm originally from Calgary.
Calgary.
Yes.
I didn't think my Canadian accent was that strong, but I found it.
No. Yeah. Calgary, the Stampede, and then you go up to Lake Louise, and Banff is like the ultimate vacation.
Banff, so beautiful.
Oh, that's so great.
Yes.
All right. Well, we really are looking forward to this year's Country Thunder, Megan. Thanks for spending some time with
Megan,
us.
have fun out there.
Of course, we'll see you this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. I would drive out there for
Oh, my goodness.
Oopsie.
Yeah. And grab your cowboy boots. You know what I mean? It's going to be such an amazing weekend.
Want to hear a great song? Go listen to Brooks and Dunn's Believe. The one that they just did with Kane Brown a couple of years ago.
Like a remix.
It will blow your mind.
Oh.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Great
Well,
time,
listen
Celeste.
to
What
it.
do you think?
Let's do it, buddy. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. We're back. Look at beautiful Sedona.
It's gorgeous out there.
You know, we have a day in Crystal's 10 Day where we're going to, just for one day, but still, it should be like a national holiday.
Yes.
70 what?
70s in April.
Wow.
It's
Okay,
gonna be
so that's
beautiful.
coming
I think
up.
it's Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Good. Get us ready for tax day.
I think it's 55 degrees in the morning one of those days. So
no
nice.
kidding. Okay, so Syleste and I were chatting earlier this morning on the TV side, nice and early, and we were discussing how cool it would be if there was another Fox 10, especially if it could be in the South, because then, Syleste, you could come on every morning and say,
Fox, welcome to Fox 10.
And so I said, is it going to blow your guys' mind? I know I have a way too much trivia in my brain. Here's Bella, by the way, as well.
Hey, Bella.
But I had to lay on the facts to you guys that, yes, there is one other Fox 10 in America, and it is down in the South, and here is the proof. Okay, so here's what's so cool about it. Renee and I were on vacation there. You know, she grew up in Alabama. That is the state house. That is the state capitol.
Oh, that's cool.
Where one of the most famous events in American history, the march from Selma to Montgomery, happened right there. It ended right on the steps of that capitol. It's that historic. And anyway, you can go on a little tour. And Renee and I were doing that. We're walking back to where we had parked, and I come up short. I'm like, Fox 10. Our logo looks different. Wait a minute, that's Fox 10 Mobile, Alabama.
No. Well, it's not Fox 10, it's Fox 10.
There you go. By the way, we love the South. So we're not mocking. We love the South.
Oh, we do.
For anybody who hasn't been there, Southern hospitality
is a real thing.
You become family.
You really
within
do.
A few hours of starting to chat with people.
Well, there was one trip we took to. It was down to watch Alabama play football.
Ooh.
And we jumped on a flight, the connection through Charlotte. And instead of saying hi, everybody on the plane just said, roll tide.
Roll tide.
You're walking down the alley and they're like, roll tide.
Hey, did you hear Alabama, their athletic director said, let's get rid of the conference games?
Yeah.
Which is a great move. They need to expand the playoff, and these coaches don't want to play in that game. It doesn't matter anymore. Players get hurt, and so Alabama might lead the way and say no more.
Well, speaking of Alabama, Nick Saban working with the president on kind of restructuring the NIL.
Yes.
You know, there could be some like legislation that takes place to help solve that for college athletics.
Yeah, and the idea there is 5 years to play. Basically 5 years of eligibility to play for 5 years.
Yes.
So right now you get 4 years plus a red shirt.
But it's with only, I believe, one transfer.
And it might get back to, I don't know, a little bit more sane. We shall see. So Bella joins us this morning. One of the things we were going to talk about are these summer airfares. Did you see that story Syleste had today about these airfares?
It's crazy.
Let me hear it. Let's go.
The average airfare in the USA this summer is going to be pushing, this is just inside the U.S., pushing $500, around $450 per person. Well, how can a family of 4 or 5 people afford that, number one?
That's nuts. I can't too much.
And international is going up, not as much because they were already sky high, but around $1,200 to if you want to go on a round trip like that.
20 years ago, you were able to go to Hawaii for $200 to $300.
Oh, boy.
You can't hardly go to Los Angeles or, some parts of the Southwest with that much.
And I saw, where did I see this? Somebody posted the other day. It was a friend of mine. He must drive a pretty big truck or SUV when it comes to gas prices. And his fill-up was $120. Now, we do want to take a look. What's that, Syleste? What were you going to say?
I was going to say that actually is probably not a big truck.
It could be more.
I have a crossover. I pay almost $80 at Costco yesterday to fill up. So I think that right now, with the way gas prices are, unfortunately, people we're paying more.
Let's see what's going on in the market. This is fascinating. We were down over 200 points to start, and everything came roaring back about 90 minutes ago. Maybe Wall Street's getting itself convinced that possibly this ceasefire, it's a short-term business we're in. Okay. I mean, who knows where we'll be 6 months or a year from now. But I think economists are hoping that at least the ceasefire can hold for a couple of weeks. And supposedly J.D. Vance is going to lead the delegation tomorrow to meet with his Iranian counterparts. And all of this we're watching oil, of course, but the market has turned around. So the Dow's up about 400 points. Now, the thing is, if you're flying places, you're going to be dealing, of course, with our TSA. And there's a new story that came out. Celeste, we were talking about this as well, saying that the thing about flying now with the TSA, President came out and said, look, executive order, let's get them paid. But that can't last forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what's going on is TSA workers are now facing more uncertainty, unfortunately, with these new warnings threatening to cut off their paychecks once again, which is something, of course, we don't want to see happen. Lawmakers right now, as you know, they're still on recess. They need to get back to work.
Yeah, it's a nice vacay.
And they're getting paid.
Of course they are.
Okay, so they're leaving the record-breaking shutdown. Of course, we're still in the middle of this partial government shutdown. I know with everything going on globally, it's hard to imagine we're still dealing with that here at home. Part of President Trump's proposed budget, by the way, could change how airport security is handled. This is really interesting. And it reminded me of how we handle some of our prisons here in Arizona. They're talking about some more TSA funding cuts, requiring smaller airports to use private screening contractors under federal oversight, because we have private prisons in Arizona,
right?
You know, but then privatizing TSA, I think is I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but my goodness.
Yeah, so here are the airports where it's already in place. I clicked on a story. You call it clickbait if you want, Celeste. But it said, here are the airports where there's no waiting. This is at the worst of it. Okay, like 3 weeks ago when it was 4 hours at Houston.
Yeah.
San Francisco, no waiting. Kansas City, no waiting. And Orlando, no waiting. Why? Because they've all gone to private agents now.
Interesting.
And that's the way it was, by the way, before 9/11. Then they created this agency, and now they're being used as political pawns. So let's do this. Bella, why don't you give us the results of this? Is the early results of the poll question.
Okay, well, the early results say 69% of people say to go private to prevent them from ever being used as political pawns again. 25% say there's more accountable. That they are more accountable as government employees. Keep it the way it is. And only 6% of people are saying go private, but make sure they have plenty of government supervision.
Interesting. So that QR code, we'll pop it up. This is a little later than we normally do the poll question, so we want to get your input on it for sure.
All right, let's go to YouTube now. 973 votes here in just the last hour. Go private to prevent them from being used as political pawns. 59%. So that went overwhelmingly winning on this poll online. More accountable as government employees. Keep it that way. 31%. And then 10% say go private, but make sure they have plenty of government supervision.
Bella, do you think that Celeste and I are in trouble with the viewers that we've waited 53 minutes to give the public what it wants?
Big D!
Probably.
You guys are so funny. So many good comments. As always, fox10phoenix.com/poll, as well as on YouTube. Rory Bisson 756 says, as a former TSA employee, trust me when I say this, you do not want them privatized. Luke is a Giants fan, says, privatization works well at SFO. If we're going to be subjected to security theater every time we fly, might as well contract out the work, but keep contractors under supervision of DHS. And Lord Howe Productions 3733 says private equals corruption. Really interesting comments. Keep them up, everybody.
Dave, if you were ever going to go by another name, and I mean, your name to us is Big D, but it's National Name Yourself Day. If you weren't Big D, maybe you had a nickname when you were like in your college days. I don't know where you went, but I heard it was like the Harvard of the West. And go ahead. What was your nickname at Bellevue High School or in college?
I'd say the other nickname that I had was DT, which was Dave Taylor.
Nice.
But But I like Big D. I'm happy with it.
Okay, good.
Plus, now you own a construction company.
I know, it's exciting.
When I hear that DT, I think downtown. Ladies and gentlemen, see him walking through the garage. Hey, downtown.
and singing that song, Downtown.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Bella, would you, if you could name yourself again, who would you be?
I really like the name Jasmine.
Oh,
By the way, Celeste,
that's great
we're
name.
kibitzing about this out in the newsroom a couple
Yeah.
hours ago. I'm going to tell you, Bella did not wait 5 seconds, 3 seconds. She's like, I would be Jasmine.
I loved Princess Jasmine growing up.
Oh, is that
love
why?
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good way to go about it. When you just asked me, Ron, I really don't know, but if I go by my favorite Disney movie, I would go with Ariel because I really like Little Mermaid.
Featuring Ariel Rodriguez.
Cute.
I would go by my nickname. One of the favorite people. The beauty of this business is a lot of times, even after you move on or the other person moves on, you stay friends.
Yeah.
And I have remained friends with Catherine Anaya. I know you know this, Celeste, but she gave me a nickname because I love burgers. She called me the Burger King. Okay. She even gave me a plate that said Hooner, the Burger King. And so she and I every year, so you can call me the Burger King if you want to, every year since we worked together so long ago, we get together and we have a burger.
This is such a great photo.
On
My
our birthdays.
goodness.
So if you can imagine, you guys, I don't think I've ever told you this, but in downtown Phoenix,
DT.
What DT? Catherine and I got to run with the Olympic torch prior to the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta.
Wow.
It was such an honor.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It was really, really amazing. So
I love those jumpsuits too. Those running suits.
Looking fun.
Yeah, there you go. Official Olympic gear.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of shirts and gear and all that kind of thing, let's go, you guys, because we got only a minute left, and we have to salute TJ Wood. Now, TJ says, I have never won anything. I am sure I embarrassed my 12-year-old daughter. When I opened my mail, I was like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, that a great photo. Thank you for
Beautiful.
watching. Yeah, you are wearing that T-shirt well.
She's glowing too.
Yes, she
Beautiful
is.
photo.
It is.
Yeah, thank you for watching, by the way.
Look at that. I see a mom sign in the background, right? I don't know if that's a blanket or something, but that's a family filled with a lot of love. I can tell you that for sure. Oh, yeah. What's that, Dave? Hold on. Dave has a quick comment.
Oh, I just love RLS Vids' comment. Hooner, you're not the Burger King, you're the Burger Lord.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Okay, I'm a lord in Scotland.
You
anyway.
are a lord in Scotland. That's so fitting.
We're getting out of control. Bye. See you
Have
tomorrow.
a great day, everyone.
All right, welcome on in to Fox 10 Talks now at 11. Another jam-packed show on this Thursday. Let's get right into it. Our guest is waiting for us in the Zoom. We have Emmett Linder with the New York Times. And you may remember we spoke with him a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about gas prices. And Emmett, let's just talk about it. I just looked at the crude oil barrel for a gallon of gas right now. Right now, $88.57. Everybody's kind of asking, we did see them drop yesterday pretty significantly after talks of the ceasefire.
But then very quickly they went back up today, and those gas prices, we were hoping, Emmett, would drop as quickly as they went up, but that doesn't seem to be the case. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, that's right. The situation is still pretty fluid. People were very relieved to hear that there was progress in a ceasefire discussion and that there was one for 2 weeks. But now I think people are starting to see it might be a little more fragile than they had initially hoped. So going forward, I think it's more of a wait and see than it was before, and that is affecting gas prices.
Emmett, can you just talk about how I've been hearing and reading a lot about how this is a global market, and even though we only get a small portion of our gas from overseas, we still are impacted by what's happening worldwide. Can you just kind of break that down for our viewers?
Sure. Yeah, so the U.S. doesn't get really any oil from the Middle East, but it is a global market. We get most of our oil from Canada and Mexico, but all of these barrels of oil around the world are all priced against each other, and they're competitive. So the price of oil coming out of the Middle East goes up, the price of oil everywhere goes up.
So here in Arizona, we rely on California, primarily the refineries there, and then we know that we are switching to that summer blend and have been warned that the prices are going to continue going up even further. How will that be affected by what's happening?
Yeah, so seasonality is a big factor. Prices go up in gas no matter what this time of year because of spring, summer travel. There's more demand, but the prices are clearly higher than they are usually at this time of year. There's a saying in the energy industry, it's, gas prices go up like a rocket, down like a feather. So they're really quick to rise when oil rises. But as you've seen, as you mentioned, oil has gone down a bit. It's still higher than it was, but there is a lag for how long it takes for gas to reflect those lower prices too.
I know we don't like to deal in hypotheticals, Emmett, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Let's say that we have this meeting Friday between the world leaders in Pakistan, and they're like, all right, we're good to go. Hopefully we start to see those oil prices drop. What is kind of that lag time when we would start to see that affected, or I guess reflected is the better word, at gas pumps across America? And I know it's a hypothetical, but...
Yeah, sure. Well, there are experts that, spend a lot of time trying to make it less of a hypothetical and try to put numbers to what could happen. So, usually the lag to go up for gas prices is about 3 to 5 days-ish. But to go down, it could be anywhere from 10 to 14 days. Wow. And, that also depends on whether gas continues to go down or oil continues to go down. If it goes back up, gas could go back up. I think a lot of people might have seen oil shoot down since the peace talks happened, but and expected gas to go down right away. But gas, went up a little bit today for most of the country. And, although gas does follow the price of oil, it's not lockstep usually.
Sure.
So best case scenario?
Wait and
best
see.
Case, best case scenario, everything goes smoothly with these peace talks. Ships can start to travel through the Persian Gulf again to transport oil, and things are, less volatile in that part of the world.
Emma, since we've got you here, I know you guys really have your finger on the pulse over at the New York Times. We've been getting a lot of kind of conflicting reporting, I guess, over the past 24 hours about the Strait of Hormuz. From what you have gathered, is there anything moving through, and who are those individuals, and what's kind of happening with the Strait?
Yeah, it's, it is nowhere near the levels that it was before this war began. Back then, a little over a month ago, there were upward of 100 ships going through the Strait a day. Yesterday, there were only 5 vessels that passed through the Strait. And that was even less than it had been the previous 5 days, which was an average of about 10 a day. So that is going to be a little more unpredictable because I think people are uncertain how, solid these ceasefire talks are. Even if the Strait opens up, I've heard that a lot of these companies that own ships are going to be really wary about moving oil through again because they're not sure if there are mines there. They're not sure if, Iran will charge high premiums to go through. We've seen that already happening a little bit, or talk of it happening. So there's just a lot in the air right now in terms of how oil can move safely through the strait again.
You said if it reopens yesterday, when we got word of this deal, we were told it's open. And then we were told because of all the bombing Israel was doing with Beirut, Lebanon, it was closed again. And then I think yesterday afternoon, the president was saying, no, it's open. So we don't really know, do we?
We don't. Analysts have said, though, who have been tracking this, who have, different means of looking at how ships are positioned out there. There are right now no real signs of large-scale positioning or like ship queuing that are ships being prepared to go through the strait even. So it does seem as though, even though there might be word it's open, the reality on the ground is that a lot of oil isn't going through still.
Yeah. And I guess there's kind of a backlog of those ships kind of hoping and waiting to get through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Emmett, we do appreciate your time. Thank you again for taking the time to speak to us this morning. We appreciate it.
Hopefully next time it's better news.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Well, great to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Emmett,
thank you.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're moving on to our next topic. We're talking scams here on this Thursday morning.
A lot of people fall victim to scams.
Unfortunately.
Things like text messages coming in. I think I got one from ADOT saying I needed to pay a toll the other day or had a ticket out or something. But
it seems that they're coming from every angle.
They're coming in from every angle, from so many different people. So we want to bring Joe Ducey in.
Yeah.
Better Business Bureau.
How's it
good
going?
to see you.
BBB.
You guys go from one topic to another.
We do.
Like this.
We try to cover as much as we can.
Look at this. Let's go somewhere.
We got a full rundown here. We got to go.
Straight or moves. Scams. Yeah.
One other, yeah. So what is the latest scam? What are we worried about right now?
Talk about a couple, I guess, today.
Okay.
One is sports betting, which I think a lot of people did. I just had that somewhere. It was like $33 billion or something was spent in sports betting on the NCAA tournament. Crazy amount of money. I think it was that amount.
Nationwide?
Yeah. In amount total. So, I mean, it's a lot of money, and a lot of people are sports betting, and we're getting complaints about scams that are going on with that.
Well, but they make it so easy now, right on your phone.
Yeah.
You can do it from anywhere.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I looked through the BBB reviews, and some of the big names, I won't mention them here, but the big names, you'll get an A rating on one and an F on the other. So there, you could really get a difference. You really should check where you're putting your money.
You probably shouldn't be doing it with an F rating.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing it with an F rating. But some of the complaints, I was going to go through a couple of them, if you don't mind. Just brief. I play online sports betting and casino games. This one particular app lets load money from your debit or a bank account, which is a problem.
Because then they have access to your bank account.
And once that money's gone, it's gone. If you could use a credit card, great. You can find it later. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, if you give someone access to your bank account, you guys can't step in and investigate necessarily. Like a bank won't step in because you gave them that access.
That's the thing.
That's the scam.
Many times when it comes to scams involving Zelle, Venmo, those kinds of things, they don't side with the consumers many times because they say you gave them that right. You said yes, but it's like, yeah, but they scammed me. They were scammers and they were convincing, but no, you let them do whatever it was. But anyway, in this case, it's like, all right, from bank account without any restrictions until you continue to give all types of reasons why they can't get the money. Man lost $300 in that one.
He's lucky it was only $300.
It is because there are others. This guy lost $2,200.
Wow.
He signed up for an online sports book, made an initial deposit, and started to make bets. I happened to hit a bet that was like $859. Then my account immediately was permanently closed. And the problem with that, he said, I didn't get the bet, but he said I had $2,200 in there. So it seems like, and I'm not a betting guy at all. I mean, I'll bring $100 to Las Vegas and say, man, if I lose it, I lose it. But no more than that. But apparently you have to have a certain amount of money in an account, in order to, in some of these places. So the problem is, I think, not necessarily, even though they may not be great here, they are legitimate places, probably in the United States. A lot of these places aren't here. They're located in other countries. And so if you try to go after those guys or try to get the government involved to help you out,
good luck.
That's going to be really tough. Yeah. So there's some things you should probably do.
So maybe is it safest if you're going to do this to walk into a sports book?
I would think so, because at least you have a physical place to go.
Yeah.
You know, in case you have a problem later. You could also there's also a gaming commission here with the with Arizona Department of Gaming, so they might be able to help you in some way. But again, if it's not, if it's a foreign place and it's just an out-and-out scam, it's going to be hard because those guys can come and go all the time.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm going to give you these things, and I know that if you're a bettor, you're probably not going to listen to any of this, but I think you probably should. And you really need to check where the site is based. Sure. That's the first thing.
How do you do that?
You could do that you could do that online. You can check to see, put in the name, and then put in, where based, and that kind of stuff comes up. You can also go to BBB. If you can't find it on the Better Business Bureau site, I would say I wouldn't go with it, because we really look at all the businesses that are coming out. If you can't find anything on these guys, I think that's a problem. Second thing is, make sure they're licensed with the Arizona Department of Gaming, and they can find that online. And they have to be licensed. Check reviews at BBA.org and online. Just look for complaints and scams and put that name in there before you do it. And then question big incentives and bonuses. Yeah. So if you're hearing, that's the way it is with
we'll give you $10,000 if you sign up with us.
It's enticing, man. You see some of these things and they're saying, hey, $500 on us first bet. I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah.
Really, what's the catch? I think those reviews are key. I mean, whether you're placing a bet or booking a hotel room, I'll sit and read reviews for hours, because there's so many that come in. They're probably real.
Well, you go down a rabbit hole, too.
Yeah.
I analyze just about everything. And I've got all these screens up, and I'm looking at various places, and this doesn't match that. I go, okay, but then, oh, wow, this looks good, though. But, so you do all that stuff, and I spend so much time. But in this case, if you're betting a lot of money, man, that's something you should really look at.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Can you imagine your heart sinking?
Well, I know, right? We got about a minute left. You had one more that we're talking about, college graduation scams going on. Yeah,
this is a big one. We're noticing, the interesting thing is unemployment scams are all the time, right? But we're seeing some that are tied to, they're getting emails in college to their college email address, and they seem to be tied to their university or professor. So it almost looks like they are getting something from their school. And let me see, the papers here. Look how old school I am, man. I've got all this
paper. I like it.
You like a paper?
I like paper better than,
contacted, let's see, I received an email to my university account with regards to a personal job, came from home on campus. So I know we don't have a lot of time here, but really, I think college grads need to be concerned about where they get these job offers. And a lot of times, if they're hiring you quickly, if they're not really looking at anything, if they're not really interviewing you personally, that's what happens in these cases. They interview you by text. It's not a real job, and what's going to happen is they're going to ask you to pay something amount of money, and they go from there.
That's it. They're supposed to be paying you. How do people get a hold of you guys?
Go to jonosbetter.com.
Okay.
You can do that, and also bbb.org.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
We'll have you back soon. Yep. job market out there is incredibly competitive. We were just talking about college graduates getting these job offers through texts, and we see the jobs reports coming every single month, and it's always really hard to gauge what you're going to find when you go out there, depending on what field you're in. And so a lot of people turning to AI, a little bit of help. Would you call that cheating? If you have AI create a resume for you?
I would call it helping to zhuzh up your resume or your cover letter. And that's exactly what we're talking about with our next guest here this morning. We have Christina Basilio joining us once again. We're talking Google Trends, and a lot of folks are turning to AI when it comes to trying to get those resumes looking polished and professional. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
So Anita started with this question. Is that cheating? Using AI to kind of, I guess, help bolster your resume.
But let me add to that, because I remember, Googling resumes when I was starting out and looking at other people's resumes and making one very similar to theirs, because you don't really know how to do it. So was that cheating? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, first, I'm sure that your viewers probably know someone that's looking for a job, or they themselves are in the market. So I'm excited to share some of the tools that Google offers to help make this process a little bit easier. But to the question around cheating, I think you put it perfectly. AI is supposed to be a helpful tool to maybe do things for you, to help you stay polished, to help you prepare. So I don't think it's really going to be something that will help people cheat. More so, it'll be a way for them to get further and answer questions maybe they didn't have answers to before.
Sure. I mean, I guess it really is like a good tool to use, right?
Yeah, and we have so many great tools. So it depends on where you are in your interview process or where you are in your job hunt. We're seeing really a lot of search interest in how to prepare for job interviews. It's at an all-time high right now, or things like how to write a cover letter has more than doubled in 2020.
Can I just tell you, I hated writing cover letters. That was like the bane of my existence.
I'm going to tell you that I had the best cover letter ever that I would use over and over, because I was
Do you still have a copy of it? I want to read it.
I'll bring it in. I'll bring it in one of these days. But I was just so proud of how I crafted this cover letter. And again, I think I bought, like a book, or looked online and I Googled examples of cover letters. What is the number one, I guess you mentioned like the cover letter. What are some of the best tips that AI is giving people when they're writing this cover letter? What do you put in it?
Yeah, so I think the best tip that I have for anybody who's working on a cover letter is actually directly in Gmail. We have a really helpful tool that's called Help Me Write. With that feature, you can put in some general information about, I'm trying to write a cover letter. It's going to go to this person. I'm trying to demonstrate that I'm good at XYZ. And what it will do is create that first draft, because what we know is that blank piece of paper is usually the hardest part. But then the most important thing that you can do whenever AI is helping you is making sure to review it. This is where your unique voice, those talents you have, those things that bring you can make sure those aren't lost in the edits, and you can make it really, really personal.
That's so true, because I was asked to give a speech one time and I was like, I do not have time to write a whole speech. But I put in just a couple bullet points into AI and it crafted this really well done speech. But then you have to kind of go through and put it in your own voice, so that when you're sitting in front of this person that's asking you these questions for an interview, they're not like, so tell me a little bit.
Is that a robot asking me these questions?
You do have to make sure you're kind of fine-tuning it, right?
For sure. And the same thing with your resume, right? One of the really cool tools that I would love to point people to is Gemini. So you can go to gemini.google.com. So the pro tip there is you can upload your resume, and then you can also upload the link of a job description. And then you can ask it, hey, look at my resume and look at how I'm presenting myself. Is there anything I could be positioning a little bit better? And just that idea of tailoring yourself, tailoring your experience to meet that moment will make you feel so much more confident when you do get in that room for the interview.
I was going to ask you too. I mean, we hear about, some of these jobs where they probably get, I don't know, thousands of applicants applying for a job, let's say like a big corporation. And I've heard that they now use AI to kind of go through some of these applications and cover letters and I guess sift through them. So one person's not doing all the reading. Are there any tips that you guys have found that kind of helps get some of those resumes to the top of the list?
Yeah, I think what I said before is a great example of that, right? So you want to make sure that your skills are highlighting that you can meet the requirements for the job description. So that's why it's so important. So when you're applying for a specific role and, if you're going in and you have to just submit the information blindly, you're not able to talk to someone, take that job description, just like we probably all learn, look for those buzzwords, look for those things that would really make you stand out and demonstrate that you're the best qualifying candidate for it. That'll help you get maybe more in the door than what you've previously done. And I think this is a golden rule even from our time. You don't have just one resume, right? You need to have things that are tailored to the different jobs, the different fields, the different companies that you're looking for to really demonstrate that you're a good fit.
So you said it was gemini.google.com? Okay, so exactly. I just put in, how do I write a resume for a news anchor with 10 years experience? And it said, with a decade of experience, you are no longer just delivering news. You are a seasoned journalist with established credibility and personal brand.
I'll have you know that she did this all on her work computer, so there's probably like alarms going off being like, Anita's trying to find a new job.
And then it said, avoid using the term seeking a role. Instead, frame yourself as a solution to a station's ratings or credibility needs. This gets your wheels turning.
Yeah, it's a good prompt. Okay,
and I think the great thing with that is if you're in Gemini, you can actually go live. So let's say you're working on your resume and you've landed an interview and you want to practice. You can take that same information, click the live button in the right side and say, hey, I just want to practice a few questions. It'll prompt you with questions based off of the job.
That is wild.
What you would say, and it will give you feedback.
That is so cool.
Okay, I'll be right back. Just working on my resume. Thank you. How do people find you guys and get a hold of you?
Just Google.
Yeah.
Just Google.
Just Google.
Well, what I will say is that you do not have to be a text expert to be able to use the benefits of AI. Whether you're building your resume, you can visit gemini.google.com, or if you want to get some more hands-on experience, I would encourage you to go to grow.google. There are certificate programs and different classes you can take to get some time using these different tools.
Also, I wanted to tell you that I'm an award-winning news anchor with 10 years of experience in a top 20 market.
What awards?
With a proven track record of boosting nightly viewership by 15%.
But you're not on the nights either. You have to tailor a bit.
You have to tailor it.
Christina, this is fun. We love when you come on. Thank you again.
This was so great. Great to see everyone. And good luck on your job interviews.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully we don't need anytime soon.
Maybe
right?
after this.
All right, Christina, thank you.
They might get a little sus.
Yeah, well, you can't be doing this on your work computer.
It's all for research.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all for research.
Right.
Okay, one more topic coming up. Country Thunder.
Yeah, Country Thunder.
You got your Daisy Dukes ready?
And my boots and my hat. This is such a huge event every single year.
People come in from all over the U.S. for this.
And one of my favorites, Brooks and Dunn.
Boot Scoot and Boogie.
I was actually listening to a whole bunch of Brooks and Dunn yesterday.
Maybe we can get you on stage with them.
Oh, that would be cool. Hold on.
I don't know that we can play that music.
No, I know we can't, but I was trying to find the song that I was listening to all day yesterday. Hold on, let me get into my listening. Oh, I can't click it because then I'm afraid.
Music fan?
No, not at all. But I love Brooks and Dunn. That was like the only songs that I know.
I like country music.
There's some. There's like a lot of the new people that I don't really know.
But you don't know them, but I feel like so many people have crossed over from pop and rap that you probably know a lot of the artists like Post Malone.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of country stuff. Morgan Wallen.
But we're talking about Country Thunder because obviously this is a huge event. So security, obviously top of mind. And we know that the sheriff's office down there does a fantastic job keeping everybody safe. But you yourself just have to keep a watchful eye out for
yourself and also your friends. Typically, you're going out with a group of people. So we wanted to talk to Beth Warford, a National Personal Safety Situational Awareness Trainer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning. Let's start off, I guess, what are some of your biggest tips when you have a big event that a lot of folks will be attending? What are some of the things that they need to know?
So the first thing you have to understand is how criminals target people. They target people based on their body language, right? So are they weak and distracted? Are they looking down at their phone? Are they all alone? So the first tip is hard target training. When you're on the move, you do not want to be looking at your phone. You want your phone in your pocket, in your hand. You want to be aware aware. You want to walk with your back straight. You want strong confidence. You want to be aware. You want to have strong eye contact. You also, when you're in crowds, you just have to notice the people around you. You probably don't want to have your phone in your back pocket or anything like that in a crowd. You want to have it physically on you. You also want to notice where all of your exits are located. You know, if something would happen and you're at a concert, there are no rules. You can go right over the concert stage if you need to get out.
You know, it's kind of sad to think about, but this is the world we live in, that you do have to keep those things in the back of your mind. And, you know, I lived in Colorado and covered when they had the theater shooting there in Aurora. And ever since I covered that horrible story, every time I go to a movie theater, I look for the exits. But it's kind of sad that we have to think this way. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Absolutely. I mean, they've done studies on the population, and anywhere from 10 to 20% of the population are opportunistics. So opportunistic predators. So what is the chance that you might run into an opportunistic predator? Well, it might be probable, you know, if you're not aware and if you're not paying attention to your surroundings. If you're all alone, we don't recommend going to a concert all alone. If you have to go all alone, we say that look for somebody in the crowd that you could blend in with, that you could pretend like you're hanging out with. Even ask some of these people, hey, can I stand with you? Can I kind of, you know, pretend like I'm with you? That's a top tip as well.
Okay, Christina, we have about a minute left. So you're dancing, maybe you're drinking a couple of beers, and you're having a really good time because that's what you're there for, the music and the show. How are you doing that and paying attention at the same time?
Okay, well, our team doesn't recommend drinking alcohol, right, when you're in a situation like this, right? But let's say that you are drinking alcohol. You should really go with people where somebody is going to be sober. Sure. At least one person in your party is going to be sober. They're going to be watching you, but you need to cover your drink. It doesn't mean that you're just drinking alcohol. You can have water or pop. That can be drugs. So you really have to watch your drink as well. Strong body language, you know, strong eye contact. Hold yourself a certain way. If somebody intimidates you, instead of looking down and just kind of diverting your eyes, we want you to look at them like, I see you, I know what you are, not me, not today. Yeah. That's the eye contact we want you to give, because you will not be.
I apologize. We have to interrupt because we have a hard break. But real quick, I want to get out if you have a website that folks can go to.
Yeah, prettyloaded.org.
All right.
Thank
Beth,
you.
we appreciate it. Thank you
soon.
so much. We appreciate those tips.
Thank you so much.
Awesome job.
It has been an amazing day here at Fox 10. By the way, Des.
Yes.
You know that's Yosemite, obviously. And if you're ever looking for a hike, you'd not even realize it, but I went on this hike just a few years ago. So from the base, there's a little campground to the left. I had no idea this was going to be our live shot. But see that sort of crevice in the mountain over to the left?
Yeah.
There's a trail
all the trees
tucked in there, and you can go all the way up to the very highest point of the rocks there and look right down on the waterfall from there.
Oh.
And I think it's like 1,000-foot waterfall. Maybe it's like 700 or 800 feet, but it's not for people who have a fear of heights. I'll say that.
I bet.
But it's spectacular.
Wow. Pretty incredible.
Speaking of spectacular, this whole Artemis mission, you and I have both been like looking for words to try to describe what we've been seeing, both, from inside the capsule, from the moment of liftoff, we had coverage that very day, to now the pictures that the astronauts have been providing, just looking over the moon's surface, that eclipse going behind the moon, and you have the sun on the other side. The whole thing's just been incredible.
Oh, I know.
So we said to ourselves, what if we could get Sean the Science Kid to join us again? One of our all-time favorite guests.
In my opinion, one of the best guests we've ever had on Fox 10 Talks.
Yeah.
Sean the Science Kid.
Look at this.
Welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. How are you, Sean?
Doing amazing. How about you?
We're doing great. It's almost Friday, so you can tell, you can get that, you feel the sense around here. Everyone gets excited the closer we get to Friday.
I'm literally going on a road trip on Friday, so I literally cannot wait.
Oh, is that
fun.
right?
Where are you headed?
Yeah.
I'm going to Alabama to go to the museum called the McLean Science Center.
Wow.
Oh, is that in Huntsville where they all the space stuff? Yeah?
No, it's actually in Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, we'll be excited to follow your trip. Hopefully, are you going to document on Instagram?
Hopefully, yep.
Okay, fun. So what are you thinking? Watching Artemis 2 crew blast off and make its way to space, going around the dark side of the moon where no human has ever been before. What is the most fascinating thing about this mission to you?
So the most fascinating thing about this mission to me is the fact that they're going to re-enter, and instead of just like having heat shields for going through the atmosphere, they literally put this material that wears down with the heat. So it's basically like the material at the front is sacrificing itself. So basically, like, the Artemis 2 will be going through the atmosphere like this, and the material will just be stripping itself away. So, like, even the minor error of not having enough means the heat will literally, like, reach the ship and might even destroy it. So, the thing is that I'm literally kind of scared for them, but also this whole mission throughout the time I've been watching it has just been filling me with fascination.
Okay, so you're going to love this, Sean. We actually had an astronaut on our show just a few hours ago, and he was describing what it's like to go through that experience with the space shuttle. He, by the way, happens to be our senator here now in Arizona, Mark Kelly, but before he was ever a senator, he was an astronaut, and we wanted to know what that very experience is actually like. I'll play you what he said, and then you can react to it. Check this out.
Spacecraft is a complicated thing. I mean, to keep that thing working right, it's taken them, through the vacuum of space, 250,000 miles all the way to the moon and back. Mm-hmm. They'll land on Friday night, splash down off of San Diego. But yeah, they're busy. But let me just say, for a second, at a time when there's a lot going on in the world, people are really freaking out about a lot of things. Costs are up. They can't afford their lives. War in Iran. This was one positive thing. It reminds me of 1968 with Apollo 10. It was right after Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated, Martin Luther King, war in Vietnam, and Apollo 10 happened, went around the moon. And the commander, Frank Borman, who went to Tucson High School, where my father-in-law graduated, Gabby's dad. He got a telegram from a woman that said something like, "Thank you, you saved 1968."
Wow.
That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah, really remarkable.
Yeah.
When you are coming down and you're landing, what does that feel like?
Well, the space shuttle lands like an airplane, but it has no engines. So we hit the atmosphere over the middle of the Indian Ocean, going 25 times the speed of sound in a giant fireball, screaming across the Pacific Ocean, right across the United States. You can't land anywhere else. You got to land on that single runway in Florida, but you're a glider. And the space shuttle glides about as well as a Coke machine or a rock.
Right.
And you got one chance to do this, and it's a long concrete runway. But if you've ever seen that runway, there's water on both sides.
Yes.
You know what's in water in Florida?
Gators.
Alligators. Added motivation.
Get it right.
Yes.
To land on the runway.
Fantastic. All right, Sean, you were loving that interview. What do you think about all that?
Wow, that was amazing. But I definitely do have something to add. So I'm going to school you on a little rocket science.
Oh, please do.
Take this rocket right here. You see, this core, imagine the liquid inside of it, is liquid rocket fuel. We're not going to use this till the second part of the mission. Take this as a solid rocket booster. You see, the difference between liquid rocket boosters and solid rocket boosters is that a liquid booster will have 2 canisters of the liquid and will mix it into the engine that causes the spark, that causes the flames to go down. But we're not going to use that till the second part. We're going to use a solid rocket booster, which is basically just all of the contents that are in the liquid boosters, but frozen into this rod with a hole in it. And this rod basically starts melting and gets the same spark that causes the fuel to go straight down, which will push the rocket up and give it most of its acceleration for the first stretch of getting past the Kármán line, which scientifically is about 100 kilometers up and is literally the line between the atmosphere and space. And after the solid rocket boosters have outdone all their fuel, they just fall off, just like that, fall straight into the ocean so that the liquid boosters can carry the rocket to the rest of its mission until they run out and drop off too, so that the main actual part that is hoisting all the humans can fly and do whatever it needs to do with its own miniature liquid booster.
Wow. I mean, the fact that they'll be traveling 25,000 miles per hour, that's something most of us can't even comprehend.
And that reminds me of some of the effects that space has on the brain. Even when they're not moving so fast and crashing down into the earth, just the whole concept of being in microgravity changes the body in wild ways.
How does it affect the brain?
It affects the brain kind of psychologically. You see, first of all, the brain uses gravity as a way to percept the balance of where the organs and your limbs, basically it uses gravity to detect where you are. And importantly, if things are facing up or down. So when you remove the gravity and you're floating upside down, sideways, all the way, the brain gets sort of confused. And in some cases, astronauts even forget that gravity exists. So when you go back to Earth, basically you'll be holding something, then you'll let it go, and it'll just fall. Then you'll look away, look back, and be wondering why it isn't there. So imagine literally forgetting that gravity exists. That's what astronauts have to do.
Right. Yeah. All right. But Sean, maybe the most important question of this interview. So you saw the jar of Nutella floating around in space with the astronauts, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yesterday we had fun with our morning poll question. What snack, or that was this morning, what snack would we take to space? I would take Reese's Sticks. Okay. I like chocolate and peanut butter. Ron, you said you were taking what?
A Whopper.
Okay.
Now, it might not
really
last.
A snack, Sean, but
it might not last very long. But, I'd get a little protein.
Yeah. So, Sean, what snack are you taking to space with you one day?
So I have two. If I would go to space, the burger I'm getting, like Dan's Whopper, I would be taking a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich with only the meat and the American cheese, because I don't like pickles.
Okay, hold the pickles. All right, what's the second thing you're taking?
I would take Simply White Cheetos, like Cheetos that are like white cheddar. I don't know if you know that Frito-Lay makes like Simply chips, which are basically the chips with like less additives and, dyes. But they made them...
Oh, I know. Sean, I'm with you. The white cheddar. Why is white cheddar so delicious? I agree.
You tell me because, okay, actually, I know. It's just
I'm sure there's a science behind it.
It triggers the brain's reward system, which is basically the system that brings dopamine to the body. So basically, when you complete a task like eating food, the food itself causes the reward system to start firing and sending you dopamine, but especially when you like the food's taste,
we get happy,
God, the
right?
The reward system goes wild.
Yeah, so fascinating. All right, Sean. Well, you have been just such a joy to talk to today. Will you be watching the Artemis II crew splash down tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely. But before we go, I want to tell you a little bit more of the effects of microgravity on the heart.
Okay, so we have got to hit a break, which is coming up in about 10 seconds here.
Yeah.
Can you stick through the break and tell us about it?
Definitely.
Excellent. Okay, let's
Stay right there, Sean.
We also do have our mystery cam. By the way, there's plenty of parking today. What was that just flew? Was that a bug or a bird? Or that's a bug. It's a big one. Mystery cam time. We'll be right back. Give us your guesses. Well, we love hanging out with you guys in the chat because I'm getting like 5 laughing faces from Low Philosophy about my Whopper idea. And then Husky Mom is like, hey, Lil, I did vote Whopper because I want substance and cosmic.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
but we
you,
were
Husky.
talking just about snack. We were like pantry snacks,
know.
things like in a bag. And then Rob was like, Whopper. We were like, we asked him when he was like really, really hungry.
Right? Hey,
It was funny.
You got to squeeze your protein in. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's see. We're in the kind of the Mid-South area here. Oklahoma, Missouri, Bama, Texas. Every one of those actually seems like a really good guess.
Yeah, I'll go Texas with B. Miguel this morning.
I was trying to figure out, I think these are birds that are flying in front of the camera, because for a second I was wondering if it was one of those grasshopper. Have you guys had grasshoppers at your house?
Oh, a ton. They're all over.
Same for us in Mesa.
Yeah.
I mean, just literally like you walk 5 steps and you crunch them. But hey, that's what happens when you get the hot, dry weather around here, and we had that in March. April's looking a lot better for sure. Okay, well, I guess I'll go Missouri. How about?
Okay.
And you're going Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
And we're both wrong. It's Bloomington, Illinois.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. There you go. Did anyone guess that today? No.
Nice.
Nice. Okay.
Got to find out more. There's a big parking lot that's got a lot of available space.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of space, let's continue with the young man, the myth, the legend.
The prodigy, Sean, the science kid.
Yeah.
So you wanted to tell us about gravity's impact on the heart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So first, let's start with the heart. So the heart is affected in 2 main ways in space. First of all, your heart will go from being, a little more conical. This is an approximation of the shape of your heart, to getting squashed into more of a spherical shape.
Really?
And you may be wondering, why does the heart get squashed into a spherical shape? Well, that's because of the way that gravity works. You see, in normal gravity, the heart will be being pulled down by gravity into this more of a conical shape, where it'll be beating in your chest, working just fine. But when you ship that heart up into space, then what happens is there's no more gravity to pull the heart down. So then the internal forces keeping the heart together win and squash the heart equally into a spherical shape. Now you may be thinking, oh, that's fine, my heart's just kind of a sphere, I think that'll be okay. But we're not thinking of the fact that your heart's muscles have adapted to the normal conical shape. So when you change the shape of the heart, you change the effectiveness of the muscles, which means your heart isn't pumping enough blood. So what happens is when you bring this now weakened spherical heart back to Earth, then obviously it'll be draping back down into its original shape, but it'll be pumping less hard. And sometimes astronauts can have a problem where if they stand up too fast, then they can faint because their heart isn't strong enough to handle the daily stresses of standing up. Because you may not know this, but standing up is actually pretty hard for your heart because you're changing the easiness of laying down where the blood just kind of pools all around your body to where the blood is getting pulled down to your feet, which is why if you hang upside down for too long, then all the blood will rush to your head because the heart isn't strong enough to go that much against gravity. So you may have a few damages.
Ooh, I did not know
something to keep in mind
about the heart.
Okay, so if you end up being an astronaut 20 years from now, maybe not even 20, maybe like 15
I think
years
so.
from now. do you want to, we got to run, but do you want to be an astronaut someday?
I do. I definitely want to go to space. It sounds like a fun place.
I think you would be a perfect candidate to head to space one day, Sean.
Thank you.
You're always a joy to have on the show. I'm so glad you could join us again today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
But
oh, yeah.
before we go to space, just remember the microgravity also causes the fluid in your skull to slosh around every which way and can cause it to pool in one spot, which squashes your brain into a more rounded shape like this. And it can also damage your vision because of the fact that in microgravity, your blood vessels kind of don't know if to expand or to contract, so they end up contracting a little too hard and dilating, opening up.
Wow.
And when your blood vessels dilate, then what can happen is the weird blood flow can cause pressure on your eyes, which can even cause you to get space blindness.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Okay.
So they got to monitor those astronauts when they make it back to Earth here. Make sure they transition smooth.
We're
when they
fully
come back
warned.
to gravity.
Wow.
Sean, thank you so much. We got to have you on again next time. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Okay. So, Des, we are going to transition now right from that interview to another space type of interview.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we're so excited. I mean, tomorrow is Splashdown Day, and the whole 10-day mission has been incredible to follow. We are all such huge fans. But Dave is bringing in for us right now. We're going to go up to the Lowell Observatory, which frankly is Space Center in Arizona. I mean, we have Kevin Schindler just about to line him up here any second, Dave. You just give us the high sign. But he's part of the Images of America series, which uses vintage photos to chronicle the history of the famous Lowell Observatory from its days when it was just getting started by Percival Lowell himself to its role in discovering Pluto and beyond. And
Yeah,
so
how
you want those
incredible.
connections to space, that's the place to go.
Yeah, Kevin wrote Images of America that he published then in 2016, and he's the historian at Lowell Observatory there in northern Arizona, teaching all of us, the history there. Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, great to see you both.
Yeah.
What have your thoughts been as you've been watching the last 9 days unfold?
My thoughts are exciting, inspiration, and way to go team. You know, when we put our minds together, we can achieve great things, and that's certainly the case here.
What would you say would be the headline takeaway from this 10-day mission? What have we learned?
Well, I guess my headline would be we're back, and we're back to the moon. And I think what we've learned is, our original voyages to the moon were more than a half century ago, and we found that we can go back with more modern means. We can do it with a variety of people, and this is just the doorstep to the future. There's so much more to come. But this, to me, one of the most exciting things is younger generations are able to see this for the first time, because Apollo is ancient history to my granddaughter and even my daughters. And so for them to be able to see this live is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and you used vintage photos to kind of chronicle the observatory's history. I mean, what are you thinking or feeling when you see these images coming, fresh from outer space?
I think it's exciting because it's no longer a footnote to history that we did this once and that was it. We're back, and who knows if we'll end up having a longer-term presence there. But it certainly is exciting to think about, and to think about human exploration. It's, the curiosity is part of all of us, and this kind of helps us tap into that curiosity.
What crosses your mind first when you think about a manned flight to Mars? Because honestly, with the last 10 days, it suddenly seems, it's still off in the future, but it seems a lot more real.
Well, it feels like we're a lot closer than we were a year ago, because the first step is going to the moon. Going to Mars is a whole different ballgame than going to the moon, because it's much longer. There's radiation, longer bouts of radiation from space and such, but this is a great step in the right direction. And even if we didn't go to Mars, to me, going back to the moon and exploring it fully, there's that in itself is pretty exciting. But to think that we might be going to another planet in the future is, oh my gosh, especially in Arizona, because so much of our scientific heritage revolves around Mars, from Percival Lowell's days in Flagstaff to ASU and U of A, who have sent so many spacecraft out that way.
I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this question, but I'll put you on the spot. I mean, I'm assuming you know math pretty well.
42.
Okay. Yeah. So, trip to the moon, trip to Mars. Why is the Lowell Observatory famous? Well, Pluto is the answer to that. How long would it take to take a manned flight to Pluto? Would that be like 10 years to get out there?
It would be more like 20 just to get there.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's just to get there. And Pluto's moving away from us right now. So it would take, hopefully you spend more than a weekend there. And then it's more than 20 years to get back. And so, I mean, that's a lifetime commitment to, and of course, that's a whole different ballgame, but just the time to do it, that's how long it would take. So we're away from that yet.
When
you 20 years there.
Think about that.
And 20 years back.
And like you said, you probably want to spend at least a weekend there.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least a week.
Yeah. Hey, before we wrap up, we only have about a minute left. Tell us why folks ought to actually make the trip, even take a day trip, get up to Lowell Observatory.
Well, it's kind of a center for inspiration. And while historically the observatory is, of course, a scientific research facility where, as you mentioned, Pluto was discovered here, the first evidence of the expanding universe and so on, we have this really strong outreach program. And you're seeing images now of our Marley Foundation Astronomy Discovery Center. Even if you aren't into space that much, you can't help but walk into this place and